No, ma'am, I wasn't sleeping. No, ma'am, I didn't hear the question. Yes, ma'am, I understand. I need to stay after school today and build 2 tall shelves to fit around the wire bins so that we can put our heavy stuff on top. I understand. Hi, Dale coming to you from my garage again, and all over the country, teachers are putting on their A game because it is back to school time. If you've watched my previous videos, you know that I have a very high respect for all teachers, and I'll do what I can when I can to help them out. This project is very specific, so it might not be for everybody. A friend of ours has these wire basket bins in her classroom, and while they are still usable for lighter objects, they really are beginning to get quite wobbly. I built these tall shelves to kind of wrap around those bins. This way, heavier objects like backpacks can be placed up on top where it's very sturdy. This is a very easy build. Each unit takes 1 sheet of plywood. Anybody can do it. Let's get started. The first thing I did was head to school and take measurements for the width, height, and depth of the wire bins. I'm using basic pine sheets of plywood from a big box store that I'll be painting later. I'm building 2 of these units, but I'm only going to be showing you the build of 1. The other is done at the same time, off camera, using all of the same instructions and cuts. The size of my shelves were determined by the measurements of the wire baskets, so yours may be different. The first 2 cuts I make are for the left and right legs at 16 inches wide by 48 inches tall. The total width of these units will be 61.5 inches wide, so I trim a section off the remaining piece of plywood, leaving me a 48 inch by 61.5 inch sheet. I use my circular saw straight cut jig that I created in an earlier video. Now that I have my plywood at 61.5 inches, I cut a 16 inch by 61.5 inch piece for the top. I then cut a second piece at 16 inches for a support. The remaining piece, which will be about 15 3/4 inches wide because of the thickness of the blade, removing wood from the previous 2 cuts, will be the second support piece. The top piece will be placed on top of the legs, so it will be the full 61.5 inches wide, while the 2 supports will be placed inside of the legs, so they need to be trimmed to 60 inches, which takes into account the 3/4 inch thickness of each leg. The legs actually only need to be 46 inches tall, so I trim them to size now. All cuts are done at this point. Now to give a great chance to all of you pocket hole haters out there to get your hate on as I try to say pocket holes as many times as I can while I start drilling the pocket holes. I'm using pocket holes to assemble both of these units. I'll need to drill a lot of pocket holes to use pocket hole joinery for this project. The legs get pocket holes on the inside top. Those pocket holes will be used to attach the legs to the top. Both supports get pocket holes on the left side and pocket holes on the right side. Both left and right pocket holes are on the back of the supports. Those pocket holes will be used to attach the supports to the legs. The top support gets an extra set of pocket holes on the top, also from the back. Those pocket holes will be used to attach the top support to the top piece. Pocket holes. It's time to assemble. I don't recall if I mentioned or not, but I'm using pocket holes to assemble these units. I start by attaching one leg to the top. I know right along with the debate of using pocket holes is the debate of using glue with pocket holes. While it may not increase the strength I'm going to use glue anyways, as I don't think it's been proven to reduce the strength of the joint either. Next, I attach the top support piece, as that should really lock the leg and top piece together, making the unit plenty stable enough to flip around for the rest of the assembly. This is where the fun started. There must be a dozen ways to attach this first support piece to the leg and the top, and because I was worried about it not being strong enough to set on its side, I chose the #1 most awkward and difficult way to assemble this piece. In my infinite wisdom, I clamped one end and used weights to hold the support piece down on the other side while I lay down under the unit and screw in the pocket holes. This was not one of my more genius moves. It was a real pain. Next, with the unit turned upside down, I attached the second leg to the top shelf and the top support to the second leg. For the bottom support, I place it on a piece of scrap wood just to keep it off the ground about 1/4 inch or so. I then simply screw each side of the support to each leg and the assembly is done. I know I said I was not going to show the build of the second unit, but I wanted to show just this quick portion of it to let you know that the pocket hole connection of the first leg to the top is plenty strong enough to flip the unit upside down for much easier attachment of that top support piece. This way proved to be a bit simpler than the approach I took the first time. The only thing left is a coat of black paint. I tried hard to get this teacher to go with a great black and orange, which is the colors to my wife and son's college, but she was having nothing of it. So solid black it is. Here you go, a tall freestanding shelf. I built the second one here off camera, and if all my measurements are correct, both of these are going to fit nice and neatly around those wire bins, giving the students a nice sturdy place to put heavy items like their backpacks. There's really only one thing left to do, and that is to load it up on the truck, haul it to the school, and help set it up in the classroom. While I do that, it's a perfect time for you to like, subscribe, and share this video. Also, let me know down in the comments what you thought of the project. Also in the comments, a great place to ask any questions that you might have, or maybe you just want to engage me in some intellectually stimulating conversation. It's all good. So now, let me get going and load the truck up. You can come along too.
Well, that's what we use baby powder all the time we go to the beach, just because you sprinkle it on your shoes, I mean on your feet.
I'm guessing that's exactly what you do in the class. Number 4, please answer.